with you today a reflection on Joel chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, and 17 and 18. After I read and reread these verses, I thought about what clung to me, what words or ideas or thoughts refused to let me go, even as I went about my daily routine and various tasks. And there were a number of ideas and thoughts that clung to me. Namely, I thought about Palestine and the Palestinian people and the harm that has been and continues to be perpetuated against the Palestinian people. And I also thought about the use of imagery within the verses, especially verse 18. We talk about words like peace and joy and fear, and those are abstracts. We can conceptualize them, but they're not the tangible in our world. They're the thoughts and the emotions that perhaps come with the tangible. And so I appreciated verse 18 in that it provides tangible images alongside the promise of joy. It's not just saying one day you will feel joy, one day there will be restoration, but it's saying that comes from the sweet wine that will drip from the mountains, the milk that will flow from the hills, the water that will flow through the stream beds of Judah. We receive the tangibility of God's promises. We receive in these verses something to cling to, not just the joy to come, not just the restorative nature of God's peace, but we receive water, something that is so valued in its physical form. Think about Flint, Michigan, and places both in our own country and abroad where not only is the earth maybe refused the sustenance of water, but the human beings who we believe are created in God's imagery are refused for whatever reason the joy of water. And so having not only the promise in verse 18, that on that day promise of what is to come, but the fact that we're given examples of what to look forward to, what joys await us on that day, whenever and however that day may appear. There will be sweet wine. There will be the nourishment of milk. There will be the sustenance and the restoration of water. And with that, with those tangible images, with those cool, refreshing elements, comes the joy that is restored through God's peace. And so I appreciate Joel in giving us those images, something to cling to, something that clings to us like water when it beads on your skin. We have the promise of what is to come, and more than the promise, we have something to hold on to. When that fear comes in its hardest waves, we have the promise of stream beds flowing with water, and hills flowing with milk, and mountains dripping with sweet wine. We have something to hold on to, as well as each other, and the promise that God's peace will restore joy.